You might want to grab a drink, grab a snack, because today it's gonna be a long one, I think. Hello, welcome back. I was gonna put a different video up today, and then they announced yesterday that this news was coming out, and I was like, okay, change of plans, I guess. We're doing this. If you are watching this video, you're probably already aware of this, but Disney announced the phased reopening of the parks today. So that is what I'm gonna be talking about. Like I said, you've probably already seen the news. This probably isn't new to you, but I want to talk about my opinion and if I think things are worth it, things along those lines. They announced this the day that I am filming this, literally like an hour ago. I was gonna wake up early in preparation for this, and then I slept in because I always sleep in. But I'm hoping to get this filmed and edited and uploaded today, so this video will be going up a little bit later in the day compared to some of my other videos, but I'm hoping to have it up today, so I will still be relevant. Disney put in a request. They said it still needs to be approved, but like they'll be fine, I think, for a phased reopening plan, and that plan is on July 11th. MK and DAC will be opened up, and then on July 15th Epcot and Studios will be opened up. I totally understand why they're doing this. I think they also probably felt a push to do this because I literally was like, who's that other park? Universal Studios announced they're opening in June, I think. But their opening plans this week, and Disney probably was like, oh shit, we gotta do it too. But I'm less worried with the opening dates and more worried with the opening procedures and how that's gonna go. Kind of give you a super quick rundown. Oh, also, like, if you're new here, this is how I do a bunch of my videos. I sit here and I get ready and I just talk about news or things that are like happening. I think it's more relaxing and less awkward than me just sitting here talking to a camera for no reason. So I'll look cute, and this will all be dealt with by the end of the video, I promise. Dates don't really bother me, and I'm glad they're doing a reservation system. So to kind of give you the cliff notes, they said people who are existing ticket holders and APs, they'll be using a reservation system. I believe the park is running at around 30% capacity, which we'll see how all those people go with this, because pass holders are not the nicest all the time. They're doing a reservation system, so people will sign up for a date. That way they can know how the parks will go. Also, I feel like I should note that this is only for Disney World. Obviously, I said the 4 parks names. But Disneyland currently, LA County is still on lockdown until August, I want to say. And obviously that doesn't include Disneyland, but it borders it, so I think they're kind of following suit. And Disney World already pretty much has like a ticketing system in the sense that you select your days, where Disneyland doesn't. So I think they might be a little bit more complicated, but also they are smaller parks to begin with, so it's less of an issue to begin with. Obviously, the big thing is masks, and I have been very vocal about this on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter. I will post about this until the day I die. Masks to me is it's not a question. Like, if you don't want to wear a mask, you don't need to go to Disney. Sorry. I get so annoyed when people comment things like, well, CDC doesn't recommend masks for people under 2 years old, so what am I gonna make my 2-year-old wear a mask? Which Disney already came out and said they don't need to. But also, like, maybe don't bring your infant to a theme park that's gonna be crowded in the middle of a pandemic anyways. Or people say like, oh, my grandma's has asthma. Like, maybe don't bring your grandma to a theme park in the middle of a pandemic. To me, it's just common sense. Would I go back to the theme parks? Well, we'll talk more about this later, but short story, yeah, eventually I will. But right away, probably not, and I'm someone who's like not immune compromised at all and perfectly healthy, so I don't know what people are up to. Masks are a big one. I feel bad for cast members, because as much as guests want to complain about wearing masks, I feel way worse for cast members, because sometimes cast members are just like out in the sun literally all day and can't get shade, and people won't remember to tell them to refill their water. I feel like cast members are going to be suffering way more than your average guest, but guests don't necessarily think about that all the time because they don't always care about cast members. Whoops, I just said it out loud, sorry. So I do feel bad for cast members for that, because I do think it's going to be a huge pain in the butt. It'll be interesting to see, because I am on like alumni groups and things like that, and there's definitely some cast members out there who are like the crazy no mask people, in which I say, if you don't want to wear a mask, don't work at Disney. It's not hard. I think that's what this all boils down to. If you don't feel safe, don't go. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't go. If you think it's not worth your money, don't go. That's what I'll be doing. Those are kind of my thoughts about masks. The kind of big news that I think people are not necessarily skipping over, but whenever I see people posting it, it's just people being excited that the parks are opening on the 11th and 15th. And I don't think they're including a lot of the details, and the details are what make it not so great for me. If this is the first video that you're seeing of mine, I am a huge character person. I was a character attendant. I love characters. I would die for characters. I'm a huge fan of characters. I will pretty much always meet a character when they are at the parks. Like, it's just a part of my day. Like, I will almost always at least try to catch a character, which, like, is it because I'm lucky and I know where they come out from backstage? Maybe, but I'm big on characters. So as someone who loves characters and isn't a local, for me, is it worth $100 a day to go and not meet characters? Absolutely not. I already kind of had said, like, I was planning on not going until 2021 anyways, and this just really solidifies that for me, because if there's no character meet and greets, that's like my #1 thing that I will not go. And the thing that I think everyone will be not too happy about is shows and nighttime spectaculars, and this is another huge one for me. Maybe it's just because I worked at Magic Kingdom and Magic Kingdom is my home, but I literally would like work a 10.5, 11-hour shift at Thoughtful, get off at 8:30, and then go watch Happily Ever After at 9, and that was just like a part of my life. I love that show so much. It makes me cry just hearing the music from it. I have a lot of feelings about Happily Ever After, and the thought of me going and paying that amount of money to not see Happily Ever After is just not something I could ever picture myself doing. To me, that show makes Magic Kingdom. I also am a big Murph fan, Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair. Again, I am biased because I worked Murph, but the atmosphere of entertainment in the parks is what really makes a difference for me. And I even said this in my interview with Disney. They were like, why do you want to be character attendant? And I was like, the difference between Disney and other parks to a big extent for me is the storytelling and the magic that comes with it, and that is through characters. You don't have characters, and you don't have parades, and you don't have shows, and you don't have fireworks. It's not just another theme park, because I still love it, obviously, but it starts to become not the same Disney to me. No characters is kind of my big one. No fireworks is also a big one. I think this is gonna hurt too for parks that have new things. So a lot of people, because it only premiered last fall, still haven't seen Epcot Forever. So if you planned your trip last fall when they announced this for summer 2020 because you want to see the new Epcot fireworks show, sucks, you're not going to see it. I feel the same about parades. I didn't think that I was a parade person, and then I started working in entertainment and I became a parade person. And I know for a lot of people, especially with little kids, parades are huge. If you don't have character meet and greets, then parades are such an important part because it's kids' ways to see characters and connect with characters without physically being able to touch them. So for me, it's sad that parades aren't happening because that is, again, such a big part of the Disney parks. I know people may disagree, but I am someone who would literally go to Magic Kingdom just to watch my side. So if there's no Move It, Shake It, you won't find me in the parks. I'm sorry. I think it'll also be interesting to see how they roll out other characters, because Disney did post something about how they'd have roaming characters, but that stresses me out as someone who worked with them. I know people were posting when Shanghai opened because they had like literally like a guard around them. They had the photo that I'm thinking of. If I can find it, I'll put it somewhere, but it was in Toy Story Land, and it was like Woody and Buzz and Jessie, and then like probably 7 or 8 character attendants around them. And I understand that that works for them, but coming from someone who worked in the domestic parks, I truly cannot see that working at all in Orlando. I hope it does, because obviously there is a lot of people in entertainment who, you know, work there and need jobs, but I'm just gonna sound like this is me roasting America for 15 minutes. I worked at Thoughtful a lot, if you can't tell. These are my children. I lived at Thoughtful, and if you have never sat and met them or you've never seen them, Thoughtful is right beside the Winnie the Pooh ride, and they enter through where the bathrooms are across from Cosmic Rays. Well, that doesn't seem very long for a normal person. For a bear with a big head and little eyes, that is a very long walk. And I think for anyone who walks at the rate of Pooh Bear, who walks very slowly, that is a very long walk. And I had to walk that walk every 20 minutes for 10 hours a day with Tigger and Pooh. Just seeing the way that people reacted on that walk for them to get to their location, it gives me almost no hope for how guests will react to characters wandering. I've also worked with roaming characters before. I've worked with the Country Bears, the sisters, stepsisters, they're roaming. This as nicely as possible. Guests aren't necessarily the most respectful people, and to an extent I do see where guests come from, because people come to the parks and they have spent hundreds of dollars and they're like, I am entitled to all of these things, and I respect that they think that. I just think sometimes they're wrong. That little walk from those bathrooms to their meet and greet location, the amount of times I have had parents step in front of characters, shove their kids in front of characters, scream at characters, hit characters in the back of the head, try and grab characters for photos, get in the way of them. I don't think I went a day working at that location where at least once, heading on or off set, that a character wasn't interfered with by a guest. And that was on a normal day when you could meet characters. If those guests really wanted to meet them, they could go stand in line for 30 to 60 minutes and just go meet them. I'm nervous, unless they literally just walk them out and they meet right beside where they walk out for backstage. I'm nervous that if a guest or a little kid, which I can't blame kids, because obviously kids don't know what's going on. You can't explain it to kids unless their parent is an asshole and pushes them to do, which honestly happens a lot of the time. I can't see guests seeing a character and not running towards them and trying to run past the attendant. And this makes me nervous. I was talking to my mom about this the other day, about how I'm so glad I'm not there attending for this. This makes me nervous because I would not be surprised if a little kid, or honestly maybe a full-grown adult, sees a character and runs towards them, and then the attendant is forced to like put their arm out or catch them to stop them, because I've literally done that before. I've literally had to catch children so they don't trip characters, and then their mom is a total Karen and freaks out and says that they're touching their kid and the cast members aren't social distancing. God forbid that cast member gets in trouble because someone's kid or adult or whole family was not listening to the rules, and that would absolutely break my heart if a cast member was just trying to keep everyone safe and then they got in trouble for not social distancing because they had to stop a kid from touching a character. Obviously we don't know how strict they're going to be about it, but Disney is really big on safety. If you've never worked for the company, that is literally their #1 rule is safety. And you know that if anyone who's not like obligated to touches Mickey, Mickey's gonna have to go wash that tuxedo 15 times and take a long bath. So I can't imagine how that'll affect everyone. I don't know, just thinking about it stresses me out. If you are an AP, if you're someone who's, dare I say, a childless millennial, and you're just in the area, or I know they're opening like DVC resorts. Put some eyebrows on because I was feeling a little bit naked. Now I don't even remember what I was saying before that. If you are a local and a pass holder, then I totally understand why people want to get back to the parks, because I feel like, especially for a lot of people who are on social media, this is their lives. And as much as I don't want to say I don't respect it, because honestly, if you can make a living off of going to Disney, you know what? You're doing fine. As much as I don't necessarily get it, I see where people are coming from, and obviously people want to see how the parks are going and people want to see what is going on, and you know what, someone has to do that. As much as I would prefer that to be done by actual people who know what they're talking about, it's obvious that Disney's going to make everything sound better than it is, so we do need honest opinions. What I'm not looking forward to is the ridiculous clickbait articles and videos that are going to be coming out from bloggers and vloggers about the parks. Now everything's falling apart, me, 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 me. That I'm not excited about. In my professional opinion, just kidding, I have no qualifications, but in my opinion, as someone who worked with characters and is just genuinely kind of sad to not see characters there, I don't know how this is going to go. And at least for me, characters are such a huge part of what Disney is. I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'll say this forever. I love characters. I think they make the magic. I think having things like the castle show and opening show and Happily Ever After and Murph and parades and My Side, it makes it feel like Disney to me, which is why I wanted to work in entertainment so bad, specifically when there's like a bajillion other facets that you could work in the company, because that's what feels so quintessentially Disney to me. The thought of them opening without all these things makes me sad. Also, as someone who's international, if you don't know, I live in Canada, I truly don't understand how Epcot's gonna go. If you live under a rock, Epcot is run by people from around the world. That's how World Showcase goes. You get hired to work in World Showcase in your country, and that is your job. So it's all representatives from around the world, and currently all of the borders are still closed for a very long time in a lot of places. And even if the borders are open, a lot of people don't feel comfortable traveling across the border into the United States, which is currently the epicenter of this virus, while this is still happening. I'm gonna go fix my hair and then I'll be back. I'm back, and I think I'm gonna wrap this up. What I was just saying really quickly about international programs is World Showcase is run by people from all around the world. So it's hard to run a park with people from all around the world when borders are closed from all around the world and people were just sent home. If you had 6 months or less left in your program, you were asked to come back and complete your program when the parks reopened. But if you had 6 months or more, your program and your visa were essentially terminated, which is a lot of people in some countries, but isn't a lot of people in other countries. And there's different start dates, unlike the DCP or CEP or things like that. CRP, you can start essentially any Monday of the year, and they do kind of come in waves, so there is people who will start at the same time, but they kind of try to space it out so that way they can run the parks year round and you won't have like a huge training group and then people leaving all at the same time. A bunch of people were affected, and a lot of countries, depending on when they started, I can see them being really, really down in cast members because of this. And then as far as I know, new programs were halted until July 2nd originally, and they haven't heard anything yet. The people that are starting still need to go through traditions and welcome to ops and 4 keys classes and on-the-job training and everything like that. So, you know, like, especially I'm thinking as a Canadian, I'm thinking of Canada. I know if you work food and beverage in Canada, you'll do like your intro months at popcorn carts, and then you'll move to a seater, and then you'll move to a server at Le Cellier. So the people at Le Cellier have generally already put in their time and worked 3 to 6 months in the pavilion. So if everyone who's worked 6 to 12 months got sent home, the majority of your food and beverage staff is at Le Cellier, and most of your Le Cellier staff is gone. So that's what I think is gonna be hard. And like, some people may not be okay traveling. I'm like young and healthy and have no one who's really immune compromised in my immediate bubble, so that's why I'm not really worried about going back to work, and I don't really like go out. I'll like order groceries, I order food, and that's it. But I can see people who live with their grandparents or have younger siblings or have friends that are immune compromised not wanting to travel at all right now, or are immune compromised themselves not being able to travel at all right now. And it'll be interesting to see how many people go back to finish their programs, and if Disney is going to just start hiring like crazy. I'm excited and nervous to see Epcot open because I think it may be a mess. That is it for today. I'm gonna wrap this up here so I don't ramble for too long, because I want to edit this and upload this on the day that this news is coming out. So today, the 27th, I had a really cute video that I had planned for today, and obviously now it's not going up, but I was really proud of it, so I guess it's going up on Friday instead. Like I said, if you enjoy just sitting down and chatting and talking about Disney. Or if you even just like think that I'm vaguely interesting, feel free to subscribe. I'm here usually 3 times a week. I'm so close to 5K. I mean, 500 isn't that close, but for me that feels pretty close. So if you want to subscribe, if we hit 5K, that'd be cool. Will I give something away? I don't know, because I can't go to the parks, but maybe. Join the family, it would be great. I post a bunch of stuff, stories about being a cast member, sometimes just my life. I vlog, who knows? But it would be nice to have you to join me. All my other links to everything else are down below. I'm usually posting on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that before I can film and edit and upload on news. So if more news comes out, it'll be posted there. So feel free to follow me there. And I'll see you guys in a couple of days and we'll see how this goes.